Lobbers in PvZ2 are essential as your offense plants because they can bypass obstacles in the game. In PvZ2 Reflourished, there are 21 lobbers, and in this video, I will be ranking all of them. First and foremost, Cabbage pult. He costs 100 sun and recharges for 5 seconds. He throws cabbages with 40 damage. With plant food, he lobs huge cabbages with 200 damage to every zombie and obstacle. Being an inexpensive plant that costs the same as the pea shooter, Cabbage pult deals 20 more damage. His basic attack is very useful in early wave if there's a lot of grid items on the lawn, due to his cheap sun cost and attack range. His plant food ability is decent since it can target any zombies on any lanes, but he's still weak in hard levels. In my opinion, he's a better choice than the pea shooter. I would say he's decent tier.
The second lobber is Kernel pult. Costing at 100 sun and with a quick 5 seconds recharge time, he has a pretty good stalling ability, which is his 33% chance of lobbing a butter projectile with 40 damage and 8 seconds of stun duration to a single zombie. His plant food ability damage is very bad since it only deals 40 damage to zombies, but it's still good for stalling since the butter will stun all zombies for 8 seconds. By my reckoning, I think he's a weak version of Cabbage pult due to his basic damage being 20. But the butter is very useful against a single target. It's even great to stall the Gargantuar. 8 second stun is a decent stun duration. Plus, he's easy to set up. He's pretty weak when there's too many zombies on the lawn, as his butter could only stun one zombie, and as a result, making him weak. Even his basic damage couldn't deal with hordes of zombies. When I planted a lot of him on the lawn, he's still struggling, and I ended up depending on the lawnmower to win the level. That being said, he's still very good in early wave and against basic zombies. I would put him in decent tier. The third lobber is Apple Mortar. It costs 425 sun and recharges for 15 seconds. It throws apple cores that deal 65 damage to one zombie and 20 splash damage to zombies in a 1x3 area. With plant food, it lobs a huge apple to every zombies with 50 damage, and it will also stun them for 7 seconds. Apple Mortar is really hard to set up because of its sun cost and slow recharge time, but in hard levels, it's a great pick because of its strong damage over 3 adjacent lanes. This range of attack really stands strong against hordes of heavily armored zombies in 4 flags levels. Its plant food ability has a fantastic 7 stun duration too. Even though it's quite expensive to plant it on your lawn, Apple Mortar really compensates it by being a great offense plant with a decent splash damage in tough levels. Legendary tier.
The fourth lobber is Melon pult. He costs 300 sun and recharges for 5 seconds. He lobs melons with 85 damage and 30 splash damage in a 3x3 area. With plant food, he launches big melons with 200 damage and 20 splash damage in a 3x3 area. He's an expensive lobber, but has a quick recharge time. He deals great damage to a single zombie. His splash damage is great when dealing against many tough zombies that come in group. What I really don't like about him is his slow firing rate. Fast zombie tends to eat him easily. But I would say his overall damage is very good against most zombies. You just need to plant lots of him to maximize his full potential. Legendary tier.
The fifth lobber is Winter Melon. Winter Melon is basically the melon pult, but he lobs frozen melons instead. The frozen melons deals the same amount of damage like the melon pult with 85 damage and 30 splash damage in a 3x3 area. The zombies will be chilled for 2.35 seconds and slowed by 40%. 650 sun cost is absolutely expensive, and the 20 seconds recharge time is a pretty long time to wait. Both of these requirements are hard to obtain, especially when you're already struggling to keep the sun economy up during a hard level. That being said, he's still an amazing lobber that could turn the tides around due to his slowing debuff. The slowing effect makes him even better than the melon pult. It allows him to deal more damage. His plant food ability acts the same way like melon pults and deals the same amount of damage too, but this time the zombies will be chilled. In my opinion, he's an amazing lobber, despite how hard it is to plant him on the lawn, because his slowing effect could maximize all the damage of your offense plants to hordes of zombies. Legendary tier.
The sixth lobber is Pepper pult. He's a 175 sun cost plant that throws flaming peppers with 60 damage and 10 splash damage in a 3x3 area.
With plant food, he lobs 3 massive flaming peppers to 3 random zombies. They deal 10 damage upon impact and 350 splash damage in a 3x3 area. Pepper Pult is a great fire plant that's easy to set up. He's also a plant that could thaw frozen or chilled plants in a 3x3 area, which means he's perfect to use in Frostbite Cave. He's a cheaper alternative to Fire Pea Shooter. I don't use him that often, but when I did use him, I saw that he was able to clear early wave of weak zombies easily. His plant food ability only targets 3 random zombies, but the splash damage is where it shines. Overall, I think he's a fantastic substitute when you want a fire plant that could bypass grid items. Legendary tier. The 7th lobber is Spore-shroom. It costs 150 sun and recharges for 12.5 seconds. Spore-shroom throws a big spore with 100 damage to a zombie. If the zombie died, it will turn into a Spore-shroom. With plant food, it shoots 3 massive projectiles, dealing 1,800 damage to 3 zombies. This, of course, will turn a defeated zombie into another Spore-shroom. For a 150 sun cost plant, this plant deals great damage, but the slow 4.75 to 4.9 seconds of firing rate leave it vulnerable to zombies. This is my favorite shroom plant in the game. I think it's very well designed. The slow recharge time needs to be faster. This plant excels against a single target. Since it doesn't have splash damage, it becomes weak during the wave of heavily armored zombies. Regardless, Spore-shroom is still a decent pick to me due to its spawned Spore-shroom being a free weak wall plant. Decent tier. The 8th lobber is Dusk lobber. She costs 175 sun and recharges for 10 seconds. Since she's a shadow plant, she has 2 forms, non-powered and powered. She throws buds that explode in a 1x1 area with 40 damage and 25 splash damage. In her powered form, she deals the same amount of damage, but instead of 1 lane, she lobs the buds to 3 lanes instead. With plant food, she shoots 4 huge explosive buds to any zombies on the lawn, dealing 10 damage and 300 splash damage in a 3x3 area. Like any other shadow plants, she's really weak without being powered up by other shadow plants. The damage might be great for a single target, but when hordes of heavily armored zombies come, she will be erased instantly. I think she's a pretty balanced plant, and she's very useful against groups of zombies in her full potential. I would put her in legendary tier. The 9th lobber is Sapfling. He costs 75 sun and recharges for 5 seconds. He lobs a sap that slows a zombie by 30% for 7 seconds. With plant food, he throws 20 pine cones that will turn into sap puddles to 20 random tiles, and the sap puddles will stay there for 15 seconds. Even though he doesn't deal any amount of damage, his constant slowing effect is actually very useful across any levels in the game. His toughness being 900 make him a decent alternative of Walnut in early wave. His plant food ability is even better as it slows more zombies longer. In my opinion, he's a great cheap stalling plant if you don't have Iceberg Lettuce, Stallia, and Spring Bean, as these 3 cheaper plants require more time to recharge. Sapfling, I love you. Whoever designed you in the first place deserves everything that is good in the world. Legendary tier. The 10th lobber is Blooming Heart. She's actually my most favorite lobber in Reflourished. From her design to her attack mechanics, everything about it just makes sense. She costs 150 sun and recharges for 5 seconds. She throws hearts that deal 40 damage. Here's where it gets confusing, but stay with me because I'm going to explain it. Upon impact, the heart deals 40 damage and infatuates the zombie. Now, what is an infatuated zombie? It's a zombie that got hit by Blooming Heart's attack, and it will show up as love emojis on top of the zombie's head. When a zombie got infatuated, the zombie will receive 15 damage for 7 times every time Blooming Heart attacks, which accumulated to 145 damage. With plant food, she lobs 3 consecutive attacks of big hearts to every zombies with 690 damage. A cheap lobber that could deal with any kind of zombies. But she's very weak if you plant her in one row, since her target is only a single zombie. To really bring out her potential, you need to plant a lot of Blooming Heart on the lawn to speed up the 7-stack damage. I feel like she's a very underrated plant, because most people are confused with how her attack works. If you're watching this, please use her. She's actually pretty good.
Her plant food ability is basically a stronger version of her basic attack, which I think is even better, because if there's any survivors, the zombies will be easily handled by her basic attack, since her plant food ability infatuates them 3 times. She only needs support and time to defeat a zombie. A very well-designed plant with a creative attack mechanics. Legendary tier.
The 11th lobber is Lily of Alchemy. She costs 175 sun and recharges for 7.5 seconds. She lobs flower buds that deal 40 damage. That's a decent amount of damage for her sun cost. But the most interesting thing about her is she's quite powerful against heavily armored zombies. Let me explain. She has a 33% chance of throwing an armor-piercing potion with 100 damage. This potion also will apply a 50% slowing effect for 15 seconds. Her plant food ability could even daze zombies for 1.5 seconds and stall them for 15 seconds. Though the damage isn't that great, but since she already could throw an armor-piercing potion, the zombies will be defeated easily. She's basically Poker's long-lost sister that is cheap and very easy to set up. Her armor-piercing potion is very helpful with hordes of heavily armored zombies, for it could tear down their toughness while also slowing them down. Her plant food ability doesn't deal huge damage, but the debuffs it inflicted in 5 consecutive attacks could really buy you some time when playing. She's one of my favorite lobbers to use when I was struggling in hard levels. Legendary tier. The 12th lobber is Caramel Popcorn. She's an expensive version of the Kernel Pult. She costs 250 sun and recharges for 5 seconds. She lobs kernels with 20 damage and 10 splash damage in a 1x1 area. The kernels will cover the zombies in sap, slowing them for 1.5 seconds. She also has a 33% chance of throwing something even better, a popcorn bag. It deals 75 damage and 30 splash damage in a 3x3 area. It also saps zombies, stalling them for 7 seconds. If you feed her plant food, she will lob buttered popcorn bags to every zombies with 40 damage. It immobilizes them for 10 seconds, and they will be sapped for another 10 seconds. I would say she's worth it for her sun cost, considering her attack mechanics being better than Kernel Pult. Even though her single target damage is weak, her splash damage and sap really help her to deal more damage. Her full potential is her popcorn bag, which is something I can't rely on at all times since it only has 33% chance, but it deals more damage and has better range. I found her quite useful in harder levels, since she could easily control the amount of heavily armored zombies. Although her plant food ability doesn't deal that much damage, it's still helpful because it stalls the zombies even longer. To be honest, she's like a revamped version of Kernel Pult with lots of debuffs that could help against zombies in a wide range. Legendary tier.
The 13th lobber is Lotus Pod. He costs 250 sun and recharges for 5 seconds. He throws seeds with 100 damage to a zombie and 60 splash damage in a 1x1 area. Very good for a basic attack damage. But what's intriguing about Lotus Pod is his ability in water. You see, when you plant him in water, he launches a torpedo that deals 120 damage and 40 splash damage in a 3x3 area. The best part is you can plant him without a lily pad. The torpedo is a great counter to the surfer zombie and the snorkel zombie. He's also one of the rare offense plants that could counter the jester zombie. With plant food, he lobs a gray missile with 1500 armor-piercing damage to zombies in a 3x3 area. While in water, he will shoot a torpedo that deals the same amount of damage in a 3x3 area. I really like the duality of this plant and how he was able to counter certain zombies. His basic attack damage and his plant food ability damage are very powerful, though his attack could really feel slow sometimes. Regardless, for a 250 sun cost, he's one of the best lobbers in the game due to his versatility in different situations. Legendary tier.
The 14th lobber is Cheese Strawberry. He costs 150 sun and recharges for 5 seconds. He throws a block of cheese that deals 40 damage and 10 splash damage in a 1x1 area. The cheese will reduce the zombie's eating damage by 50% for 3 seconds. With plant food, he launches cheese to every zombies, dealing 200 damage and 75 splash damage. The zombie's eating damage will be reduced by 50% for 15 seconds. His damage isn't that great, but that doesn't mean he's useless. I noticed that every time I used him, the wall plants tend to defend better and longer. The nauseated effect really helped my wall plants to survive in tough levels.
In my opinion, he's perfect as a support plant that is easy to set up. Decent tier.
The 15th lobber is Sling Pea. I ranked him before in my pea shooter ranking video, but I'll do it again here. He's an expensive 325 sun cost plant. His 25-second recharge time is really long to wait, but he's actually worth the sun cost because his range is very wide. 5 peas on every single lane, dealing 50 damage and 10 splash damage. His plant food ability is just launching 3 waves of 25 peas, dealing great damage as well. It also has a very short splash stunning effect. Besides Split Pea, he's the only pea shooter that's able to shoot zombies backwards. Regardless of what kind of zombies that come, Sling Pea could deal great damage to most of them. Legendary tier.
The 16th lobber is Solar Pea. I already ranked her too in my pea shooter ranking video, so I'll just go through this quickly. She's a 275 sun cost pea shooter that recharges for 15 seconds. In her lobbed shot mode, she throws solar peas with 50 damage to 3 zombies. When the zombie dies, 15 sun will be dropped. I like how 15 sun can be generated from defeated zombies and how she can bypass grid items unlike most pea shooters. The main problem of using her lob shot mode is her firing rate, 4.35 to 5 seconds. It's a pretty long time to wait, and this leaves her vulnerable to hordes of zombies. I would say she's still a powerful lobber since her plant food ability is broken too. Decent tier.
The 17th lobber is Turkey Pult. She's one of my favorite lobbers in the game because she's a funny-looking plant. She costs 150 sun and recharges for 10 seconds. She launches tofu turkeys to zombies. The turkey has 55 health and it takes 10% less damage from the zombies. The turkey deals 90 damage per second and it will disappear after 2.5 seconds. With plant food, she throws 5 turkey zillas to 5 random zombies. The turkey zillas have 300 health and deal 85 damage per second. These upgraded turkeys won't disappear until they got defeated or leave the lawn. She deals great amount of damage per second for even though she's cheap, but her slow firing rate enables hordes of zombies to accumulate, making a level even harder to beat. Her plant food ability has a nice upgrade to her turkeys, which definitely helps sometimes. Most of the time, she's pretty alright in dealing against the early wave of zombies. I would put her in decent tier.
The 18th lobber is Sticky Bomb Rice. She costs 250 sun and recharges for 25 seconds. She throws sticky rice bombs to zombies on her lane and adjacent lanes. This sticky rice bomb will immobilize the zombie for a second and explodes with 50 damage in a 3x3 area. If a sticky rice bomb explodes next to another bomb, the damage will be doubled by 15% and it will trigger other nearby bombs to explode too. She also could target a zombie that is behind her in her range. With plant food, she launches sticky bomb rice to every zombies. This time, the bomb takes 3 seconds to explode with 150 damage. I don't mind her sun cost and recharge time because her range is pretty wide and her attack could stall the zombie. Her damage is actually really great once you start planting lots of her on the lawn due to the damage being upgraded by 15% once the bomb started to detonate. Her plant food ability has a better stalling duration and it explodes with better damage. Her only weakness is flying zombies and fast zombies, as she couldn't target airborne zombies and her slow firing rate could only target a single zombie. That being said, the versatility of her attack makes her one of the best lobbers in the game. She could deal great amount of damage in a huge area while also stalling them. Legendary tier.
The 19th lobber is Mistletoe. This is one of the most unique plants in the game. She costs 400 sun and recharges for 25 seconds. She launches rolling fireballs on her lane and adjacent lanes, dealing 100 damage and 75 splash damage in a 1x1 area. After hitting a zombie, it will keep rolling with 50 damage without a splash damage to the end of the lawn. With plant food, she deals 300 damage in a 3x3 area. After that, her fireball got a permanent upgrade where it turns to blue. The blue fireballs deal 120 damage, 80 splash damage, and 80 rolling damage. Her heating rate will be shortened to 1.5 seconds from 6 seconds. She's an expensive plant and the recharge time is really long, making her difficult to set up. Despite how hard it is to plant her, her attack could help to clear hordes of zombies due to her massive range and rolling fireballs. She even got stronger permanently with her plant food ability.
I think she's one of the best investment pick, regardless of how hard it is to bring her as one of your offense plants. In my opinion, she definitely helped in reducing the amount of zombies when there's way too many zombies coming in hard levels. Legendary tier.
The 20th lobber is ACCI. ACCI is an acronym for Autonomous Catapulting Ejectomatic Emitter. I still can't believe this is a plant. The name is so weird. They shoot seed projectiles with 60 damage. The seed will bounce to another zombies, dealing 10 less damage each time it bounces. With plant food, they will launch a big seed to the first zombies on each lane with 450 damage. The seeds then will bounce to other zombies with the damage decreasing by 50 every time it bounces. For a 175 sun cost plant that recharges in 5 seconds, ACCI's basic attack deals decent amount of damage to one zombie, but its damage gets worse after it bounces to another zombie. If another zombie is too far, the seed will become completely useless. The plant food ability has a decent damage too, but again, the bouncing damage really downgrades this plant's potential. I would say they are amazing against a single zombie, but act more like a support in taking down group of zombies. Decent tier.
The final lobber is Spring Princess. She costs 425 sun and recharges for 25 seconds. She launches springs with 120 damage to a zombie on her lane and adjacent lanes. The spring will land on a random tile in a 3x3 area around the zombie it hits. Then the spring will stay on that tile for 5 seconds. If a zombie steps on it, the zombie will be bounced backwards in a short distance for a short amount of time. With plant food, she throws lots of springs to every zombie, dealing the same amount of damage and give every zombies a chance to be bounced backwards. I absolutely love this plant. I used to think she's not that powerful, but she's actually a perfect stalling plant that could infinitely stall zombies. She's like Spring Bean without the need for sleep. Even though she's great at stalling, her damage starts to diminish as soon as a group of heavily armored zombies come. I would say she's one of the most perfect stalling plant in Reflourished. Her springs really support other offense plants to deal more damage. I just wish they added more damage to her plant food ability, but it's alright I guess, since the infinite stalling is already good enough for me. Legendary tier. Do you agree with my ranking, or do you have a different opinion about the things that I said in the video? Let me know in the comments below. I did a pea shooter ranking video a few weeks ago. If you're interested, you could click the video on the screen.